Hello students, my chapter of anterior abdominal wall and posterior abdominal wall is over. Now the next chapter is the pelvis. In the pelvis, I'll teach you about the pelvic inlet and the pelvic outlet. Then the arteries, the veins, the nerves, the lymphatic surrounding the pelvis, the pelvic muscles, that is the pelvic diaphragm. Okay, and the differentiating points between the male and the female pelvis. Okay, now what is bony pelvis? The bony pelvis is made up of two hip bones, the sacrum and the coccyx. It may be subdivided into greater or false pelvis and lesser or true pelvis. So the hip bones, the sacrum and the coccyx together forms the bony pelvis. So the sacrum, the coccyx together form the bony pelvis. Okay, so if you hear, this is the diagram, the pelvis. Okay, so this contains the sacrum. Yes, this contains the sacrum. Okay, it contains the sacrum. Okay, the sacrum, the coccyx and the hip bones. Okay, so this is the bony pelvis. Okay, sacrum, coccyx and the hip bones. The individual bones you must have studied in the lower limb. Now I am taking the entire bony pelvis, that is the pelvic girdle. Okay, now this bony pelvis is divided into greater or false pelvis and lesser or true pelvis. So this pelvis, okay, is divided into greater or false pelvis, lesser or true pelvis. Okay, what is the greater pelvis? First we'll study that. The walls of the greater pelvis are formed by the broad upper parts of the two iliac bones and posteriorly by the base of the sacrum. Okay, so if we take this diagram, yes, the greater pelvis, okay, or we take it as the false pelvis. The false pelvis is formed by the upper parts of the iliac fossa. This is the iliac fossa, you all know. So upper parts of the iliac fossa, okay, and posteriorly by the base of the sacrum. So this is the base of the sacrum. Upper part of iliac fossa, okay, this is the upper part of iliac fossa and the base of the sacrum. So this is forming the walls of the greater pelvis. So this is forming the walls of the greater pelvis. Okay, the greater pelvis has no bony anterior wall and it is merely the lower part of the abdomen. Anterior wall is not formed. It has no bony anterior wall of the greater pelvis. Why? Because pubic symphysis is slightly at a lower level. Okay, so if you take the greater pelvis, only the posteriorly it is the iliac fossa and the base of the sacrum. Okay, the upper base of the sacrum, where the fifth lumbar vertebrae, it sits on the base of the sacrum, that is, it articulates. Okay, so posteriorly is the upper part of iliac fossa and the base of the sacrum, and anteriorly in the front there is no bony wall. Okay, anteriorly there is no bony wall, it is merely the lower part of the abdomen. Now the communication between the greater and the lesser pelvis is called the pelvic aperture or pelvic inlet. Okay, so the communication between the greater and lesser pelvis is known as pelvic inlet. Okay, it is known as pelvic inlet. So what is the margins of the aperture which constitute the pelvic inlet, or it is also known as pelvic brim? So till now I have explained the bony pelvis. It is formed with the help of the hip bones, the sacrum and the coccyx. it is divided into true pelvis, that is lesser pelvis, and false pelvis, that is greater pelvis. The greater pelvis, posteriorly it is the upper part of two iliac bones, that is the iliac fossae, and posteriorly by the base of the sacrum. But the greater pelvis has no bony anterior wall and it is merely lower part of abdomen. This I have explained. Now, the communication between these two pelvis, the lesser and greater and the lesser pelvis, is with the help of pelvic aperture, superior pelvic aperture or pelvic inlet. Okay. Now, what is the margins of this aperture? This margins of the aperture is known as brim, pelvic brim. So, superior pelvic aperture or pelvic inlet, the margins is known as pelvic brim. Now, what these margins consist of, that we'll see. Now, what does this margin consist of? Okay. Now, this is the diagram. Okay. This is the diagram showing the pelvic inlet. You can see here, this is showing pelvic inlet. This is the pelvic brim, that is the boundaries of the pelvic inlet. So, these are the boundaries of the pelvic inlet. So, that I will show you what are the boundaries of the pelvic inlet. You can see here first, posteriorly is the margins of the sacral promontory. Okay. Then the superior and the anterior surface of the sacrum. So, superior surface of the sacrum and little bit above the anterior surface of the sacrum. Also, this is forming the margins. Okay. Now, this is the margins of the ala. So, this is the sacral promontory margin, then the margins of the ala. Then we'll go down, this is the SI joint. Then we'll go laterally, this red line, you can see here, this red line is an arcuate line. Then it goes further down and it is the pecten pubis. Okay, it is known as the pecten pubis. Then comes the pubic crest and then pubic symphysis. So, this is the boundary of the pelvic inlet. Okay, this is the boundary of the pelvic inlet. Okay, so what is the boundary? The margins of the sacral promontory, then comes the margins of the ala of the sacrum, then this is the arcuate line up to ischial spines, then the pectineal line or pecten pubis, and then the pubic crest. Okay, and the upper surface of pubic symphysis, both the sides. Okay, this is the sacral promontory margins, then the margins of the ala of the sacrum, arcuate line, pecten pubis or pectineal line, pubic crest, and the upper part of the or upper surface of the pubic symphysis. This forms the pelvic inlet. Okay, so these are the boundaries of the pelvic inlet. It's very, very important. This pelvic inlet, okay, the arcuate line, the pectineal line, okay, and pecten pubic crest, okay, this together forms linea terminalis. This together is known as linea terminalis. Okay, so this is about the pelvic inlet. Please remember the boundaries. Okay, this is about the pelvic inlet. Now, we'll proceed further with the cavity of the lesser pelvis. Now, we studied about the greater pelvis. Okay, now we'll study about the cavity of the lesser pelvis. What is the cavity of the lesser pelvis? In front, it is bounded by the body and the rami of the pubis. Lesser pelvis means the lower part of the pelvic area. So, in front by the body and the rami of the pubis. So, if you see this diagram, this is the body and the pubic rami. Okay, this is the pubic rami. Okay, this is in front. On either side would be, on both the sides would be the pelvic surfaces of the ilium and ischium. Okay, so pelvic surfaces of the ilium, okay, and the ischium on either sides. Okay, and behind would be the sacrum and the coccyx. So this is the cavity of the lesser pelvis. Now this forms the boundary of the inferior pelvic aperture. We had superior pelvic aperture, that is pelvic inlet. Then there would be pelvic cavity where the structures are present. Okay, where the structures are present. The female, the male reproductive organs, the urinary bladder, the rectum, and then comes the pelvic outlet. So what is the boundaries of the pelvic outlet? Anteriorly would be by the pubic arch. You can see the pubic arch. This is the pubic arch. Okay, the arch. This is the pubic arch that you all know. What is the pubic arch? Okay. Then laterally it would be ischial tuberosity. Okay. So this is the ischial tuberosity, would be the lateral boundary. Okay. Then the lesser sciatic notch, the greater sciatic notch, which is not seen in the diagram. Okay. But that notches you all know it is present. Then the ischial spine. Okay, this is ischial tuberosity. There is one spine here. Those are ischial spines. It will form the boundary of the outlet laterally. And posteriorly would be the margins of the lateral margins of the sacrum and the coccyx. Okay. So pelvic outlet. What are the boundaries? Anteriorly, posteriorly and laterally. Anteriorly would be pubic arch. Okay, so anteriorly would be the pubic arch. You know this. What is the pubic arch? Then laterally would be the ischial tuberosity first. Okay, these are the ischial tuberosity. This, you know this. Laterally. Then would be the lesser sciatic notch. Then the ischial spine. Okay, there will be ischial spine and the greater sciatic notch, and posteriorly would be the lateral margins of the coccyx. So this was about the pelvic outlet. When the ligaments are intact, the lateral margins are formed by sacrotuberous ligaments that attach from the side of the sacrum and the coccyx to the ischial tuberosity. The inferior aperture then appears to be rhomboidal. Okay. Now what happens? There is presence of sacrotuberous ligament. So there is presence of sacrotuberous ligament. You can see a sacrotuberous. It is from the sacrum. Okay, that is stretched from the sides of the sacrum and the coccyx to the ischial tuberosity. That's why it is known as sacrotuberous, ischial tuberosity. So sacrotuberous ligaments. If it is stretched, so this pelvic outlet, it becomes rhomboidal in shape. Okay. So this is the AP view of the pelvis to show the inlet. Okay. So this is the inlet. Okay. And this is the outlet. So inlet, if you see, there is sacrum. This is the sacral promontory. Okay, the margins. Then the wings of the ala. Then the arcuate line. Then the pectineal line. Then the pubic crest and the pubic symphysis. Okay, so this was about the pelvic inlet. Okay, this I have shown you before also in the diagram. So this was about the pelvic inlet. The margins of the sacrum, sacral promontory, wings, margins of the ala, arcuate line, pecten pubis, pubic crest and the pubic symphysis upper surface. So this forms the inlet margins or pelvic brim. Okay. And this arcuate line, pecten pubis, pubic crest together form linea terminalis. Now what is forming the pelvic outlet? What is forming the pelvic outlet? The pelvic outlet, if we see in the front, anteriorly is the presence of pubic arch. Okay, this presence of pubic arch, ischiopubic rami, the ramus, then the greater lesser sciatic notch, then ischial tuberosity. These are the ischial tuberosity. Okay, then on the back side would be the lateral margins of the sacrum and the coccyx and the sacrotuberous ligament, that is from the sacrum to the ischial tuberosus, that is known as sacrotuberous ligament, as the name suggests. Okay, so this was about the boundaries of the pelvic inlet and the outlet. Now we'll see the diameters of the pelvis. The diameters of the pelvic inlet and outlet are important in the obstetric point of view. Okay, during childbirth. So some of these are given in table 14.2. All dimensions are given, those in female. Okay, so this is obstetric point of view. It is very, very important for child bearing, okay, or for the delivery of the child. So if we see one by one, what is the diameters? Okay, first we'll take, there are three diameters: anterior posterior diameter, transverse diameter and oblique diameter. So AP diameter, transverse diameter and oblique diameter. What is the diameters? This in the inlet and what is in the outlet. Okay, now we'll take first the AP diameter. Okay, what is the anterior posterior diameter? So if we take here in the inlet, this is the AP diameter. So what is the AP diameter? It is measured from the upper border of sacral promontory to the pubic symphysis. Okay, so from the upper border of the sacral promontory up to the upper border of the pubic symphysis. Okay, so from the upper border of sacral promontory to the upper border of the pubic symphysis. If we take here in the diagram also, this is from the upper border of the sacral promontory up to the upper border of pubic symphysis. This is AP diameter, anterior posterior diameter. This is anterior, this is posterior. So AP diameter this way, upper border of the sacral promontory to the upper border of the pubic symphysis. This AP diameter of the pelvic inlet is 110 mm in females. So this is 110 mm in females. Okay, now the next inlet is the transverse diameter. It is measured across the widest part of the pelvic brim. The widest part of the pelvic brim, most wide. So if you see here the transverse diameter, if you see it is 130 mm. So if you see, this is the widest part, is you can see it is between the ischial spines. So this is, if you see the pelvic inlet between the ischial spines, these are the ischial spines in the diagram. Okay, so these are the ischial spines. So the widest part, that is the transverse diameter, running through this both ischial spines is 130 mm. Okay, so transverse diameter was 110 and AP diameter was 110 and the transverse diameter is 130 mm. Okay, next is the oblique diameter. It is measured from one iliopubic eminence to the opposite SI joint. Okay, so it is measured from one iliopubic eminence to the opposite sacroiliac joint. So if you take this is the iliopubic eminence here, okay, to the opposite sacroiliac joint. So this is the oblique diameter. Okay, this is the iliopubic eminence. So this is the iliopubic eminence here. Okay, and opposite to the SI joint. Okay, so SI joint opposite to the opposite iliopubic eminence. Okay, so this is the oblique diameter and this oblique diameter is 125 mm in females. Okay, so if you see this diagram here, This is the AP diameter, which is from the margin of the sacrum promontory to the upper margin of pubic symphysis here. It is 110. Then the transverse diameter, it is across the widest part, that is the ischial spines. This is the transverse diameter, it is 130 mm. And the oblique diameter is from the iliopubic eminence towards the opposite SI joint. Okay. So this is 125 mm. So this is oblique diameter. Now we'll take the diameters of the outlet. Okay. Measured from the apex of the coccyx, okay, to the lower border of the pubic symphysis. From the apex of the coccyx to the lower border of the pubic symphysis. So that is the AP diameter. So it is from the lower border of the coccyx. You can see here, this is the coccyx outlet. So from the coccyx lower border to the lower border of pubic symphysis. Okay, lower border of pubic symphysis and the coccyx. So this forms AP diameter outlet. It is about 125 mm. Okay. So this is the coccyx lower border and the lower border of pubic symphysis, AP diameter from anterior to posterior, AP. So lower border of pubic symphysis to the lower border of the coccyx would be the outlet AP diameter, and that is 125 mm. Now the outlet, the transverse diameter, it is measured between the two ischial tuberosities. So this is the ischial tuberosities, you all know, these are the ischial tuberosities. Okay, so between these two ischial tuberosities are the transverse diameter, ischial tuberosity and ischial tuberosity. So these are the transverse diameter of the outlet, and it is 110 mm. Okay, and the last is the oblique diameter. It is measured from one midpoint of sacrotuberous ligament of one side to the junction of the ischial and the pubic rami on the other side. So that is around 118 mm. So if you see this, it is from midpoint of the sacrotuberous ligament. So this is a sacrotuberous ligament, okay, of one side to the junction of the ischial and pubic rami, to the junction of the ischiopubic rami. Okay, the junction of the ischial tuberosity, this is ischiopubic rami. Okay, so this diameter from the midpoint of the sacrotuberous ligament to the junction between the ischiopubic rami, this diameter, this is the transverse diameter, and this transverse diameter is around, this oblique diameter is around 118 mm. Okay, so this were the diameters which were present. The anterior posterior diameter from the upper border of the pubic symphysis to the pubic symphysis upper border to the upper border of sacral promontory, it is 110 and 110 mm, that is 110 mm. Okay, the transverse diameter is between the two ischial spines, it is 130 mm. Okay, and the oblique diameter is between the iliopubic eminence of one side, okay, to the SI joint of the opposite side. So this is 125 mm. Okay, next is from the outlet, the apex of the coccyx to the lower border of the pubis. So from the apex of the coccyx to the lower border of the pubis, it is AP diameter 125 mm. Between the two ischial tuberosities is the transverse diameter, which is 110 mm, and measured from the midpoint of sacrotuberous ligament of one side to the ischial and pubic rami. Okay, so ischial and pubic rami. Okay, so this would be the midpoint of the sacrotuberous and this here to the ischiopubic rami. Okay, okay, this way it would be 118 mm. Okay, so this finishes your introduction of the bony pelvis, the pelvic inlet and the pelvic outlet, and the diameters of the pelvis. This topic is very important on your Viva point of view. It is a very important topic for Vivas. Okay. The next topic of discussion would be the difference between the male and the female pelvis, which I'll take in my next video. Thank you, students.